So next up we have Serita Cox, who is going to come here. I'm going to do a talk, and she's a true humanitarian, and she brings her personal experience with foster care, devoted commitment to a number of youth development initiatives, and an over decade of experience in executive level management in Silicon Valley, corporate strategy consulting, and nonprofit strategy consulting, to her work as the co-founder and CEO of her own company or organization. So happy to welcome her to the virtual stage. Welcome.
Hi. Welcome. Thank you so much. I am so thrilled to be here. Want to make sure my screen is being shared as well. Can you see?
We don't see the
Not yet,
but now
there we go. Excellent. All right. So want to say hi to everybody. Thank you so much. I'm thrilled to be here. I actually live in sunny Lake Tahoe, so I'm zooming in from Lake Tahoe, California. I used to live in the Bay Area back in the day when I was an executive in Silicon Valley. That was over 20 years ago. Sorry, I'm having a little bit of difficulty with this. Hang on. Well, today I'm going to talk to you about doing good with tech. Now, I just want to make it really clear, having been an executive in Silicon Valley, that women in tech is actually a really, really good thing. And it's very good for the industry. It's good for society. But seriously, technology itself has so much power for doing good, and we clearly aren't exploiting it. Doing good is not something you need to give your career up on. You don't need to have a cataclysmic event like I did to make the decision to do good, to leverage your technology and all of your talents for good. So for me, it was the dot-com bust. That's what got me into using tech for good. I remember the exact day I realized I needed to make a change. I was a vice president running a $550 million line of business. I was the youngest and only female executive at 3Com Corporation, and I was riding high. I was jetting between offices in Silicon Valley and Singapore, and making deals. I was doing pre-IPO parties every single night. Life was great. And then the whole thing came crashing down. It just completely busted. Personally, I riffed 12,000 people. That is reduction in force. That's a nice way of saying fired 12,000 people. A lot of them were H-1Bs who only had 10 days to find another job, or they had to leave the country. Stock options became worthless. People lost their jobs, their cars, their homes. It was horrible. But honestly, it didn't really feel real to me, because 3Com, we were so flush with cash. We were essentially a bank. I had led the spin of Palm from 3Com, which at the time was the largest IPO in history. And we had oodles of money, but it was all sitting in the Cayman Islands. We just didn't want to bail out the US operations because bringing the money back in would be a taxable event. No, when it really, really hit me was when I got called out. It was at our quarterly all-staff meeting with employees video conferencing in from around the world. I sat on the stage with VPs while our president announced our second round of RIFs. Suddenly, this guy jumps up in the middle of the room and starts yelling and demanding to know why we were axing his friend's department entirely, why we were just throwing away great IP, years of blood, sweat, and tears. He called us each out by name. As he yelled at us, I realized who he was, or rather what department he must be in, and that his whole department was on the chopping block next. We had already planned our next quarter cuts so that we could make our quarterly projections. He was going to be gone, his entire department gone. That was my wake-up call. Honestly, what the hell was I doing? Why did I care more about my career than helping people? That was the day I quit. What did I do? I did a full 180. I went on and reinvented myself in the nonprofit sector. My focus, the most disenfranchised, the most vulnerable kids in all of America, foster kids. There are nearly 500,000 foster youth in the US removed from their parents for their own safety because of abuse, neglect, and violence. Their outcomes are the worst outcomes of any kids in the entire country. At the age of 18, 19, or 20, when they age out, 50% will be homeless. 50% will be unemployed. Those employed will only be earning $7,500 a year. And less than 8% will ever earn a college degree. I fundamentally changed my course of my career, and I don't regret that for a minute. What I do regret, and I hope you never regret, is that while I was conquering the corporate world, I didn't think about also helping those who need it most. And that's doubly damning for me. As you heard, I myself am one of those disenfranchised. I grew up in foster care. I emancipated, as they call it, from the system at 16. I was on my own. But thank goodness there were people around who weren't so wrapped up in their corporate careers that they couldn't stop to give me a helping hand. So I urge you, don't wait for the next bust to realize that your talents, your businesses, your daily activities can do so much good. Social justice, inequality, human suffering, tech can solve these. And you can start right now and infuse every code you write, every product you develop, and every business deal you do with this focus. And if you're not sure where to start, I've got 3 big ideas for you that I fundamentally believe can make the world a more equal and just place. So the first one is the digital divide. In 2016, the UN declared that the internet was a basic human right. It's 2020, 50% of the world is disconnected. They're not online. I was actually on a call yesterday with the state of California, and someone said, this is the new haves and have-not divide. They're absolutely right. Now more than ever, if you aren't connected, you're not part of society, you aren't moving ahead, and you're not able to succeed. In California, the very birthplace of Silicon Valley, 6.5 million middle school and high school students do not have access to tech. And they need it for distance learning. And there's no solution that's going to meet that need. Sure, tech giants have donated about 23,000 tablets and 100,000 hotspots during this pandemic. But we haven't seen them yet, but this is what they say they're donating. And what are we supposed to do with that? Host a Hunger Games tournament to see which of our 6.5 million students deserve to learn this fall? We at iFoster have taken this heads on. Now we're not dealing with 6.5 million students. We're only dealing with the foster youth. It's about 25,000 foster youth, K through 12 and college in California. But if in 15 weeks since the COVID crisis has hit here and schools have closed down and gone online, we've managed to ensure 9,000 college and high school foster youth have gotten a laptop and internet access so they don't fail school, us, little tiny iFoster, then surely the entire tech industry can solve this for all disenfranchised students. Fall is coming and distance learning is a reality once again, not just in this country, but worldwide. Here, we're going to ensure every California foster youth returns to school with the tech they need to succeed. The other 6,475,000 disconnected students in California, well, I guess may the odds ever be in their favor. But seriously, let's talk about what you can actually do. Internet for all, access for all. There's really only two problems to solve. One is cheap device connectivity, and the other is the connectivity. Moore's law would suggest that we should be getting cheaper and cheaper devices. Sure, there's like rock bottom price devices like $50 tablets and $150 Chromebooks, but seriously, they don't work. Raspberry Pi has proven that you can actually have a computer, but how many kids can get a Pi and know how to put it together so that they can do their homework? We can do better. But honestly, the bigger issue is connectivity. 50% of the world is not online. Back in my day, 20 years ago, we were talking WiMAX and mesh networks that would blanket the city with high-speed internet. I even remember San Francisco was going to be a pilot. It's only 7 miles by 7 miles. How hard could that be? 20 years later, we're still talking. And no, San Francisco does not have ubiquitous high-speed internet for anyone. Internet is not for all. And we in tech have nicely created a new form of disenfranchisement and elitism. The haves are online and the have-nots are not. So next time you write a line of code, design your next awesome app, or launch your next great tech company, think about the 50% of the world who can't benefit from your creation. How will you serve them? I like to think, quite frankly, about Frankie. I'm going to show you a couple of pictures of Frankie. These are Frankies. This is who I think about when I think about how we serve everybody. These are pictures of kids living in the Appalachian Mountains of West Virginia. These pictures were taken within the last 6 months. You know, they don't even have a great internet service in West Virginia. Even in the big cities, they're on dial-up. These kids have nothing, but they do have big hopes and dreams. If only they could get connected to the rest of the world. Imagine what they could do, what they could achieve, who they could become. Each of you have a Frankie in your country, in your home state, and maybe even in your own city and town. How will you get them access to the incredible world that you're creating? So access, number one thing you can work on. Number two is community. So once you get access, then what? Our last speaker, Monica, actually talked about community. Community is hugely important. Getting connected is the first step to equality, but once you get connected, what's out there for them? What can help them with their particular needs? One of the greatest things about the internet is that it brings people together. However, big, broad platforms like Facebook and Twitter, nothing wrong with them, but they don't really foster community. They're really great for loudmouths screaming in the wind, as we're seeing here in the US right now. But what people need is a community that is for them, that has utility for them, and makes them feel comfortable with who you are. I'll give you a case example. C# Corner, perfect community for developers. Global community of 3 million software developers. And check out this is your gathering spot. Honestly, your hub kind of hurts my eyes, but it is perfect for developers. It is a virtual hub for learning, sharing, and career growth, where even OGs like Mahesh Chan hang out and help the next generation become great programmers. Every community needs a space like this, especially our most vulnerable citizens. Take our foster youth. They're too often alone, ostracized from society. Foster youth don't even know each other. For their own safety and security, they're hidden away. So how do they even know that there are other people like them out there going through the same things they are? Where would they meet older peers that can help them out and show them the way? Not in the physical world, but in the virtual world, we can make that happen. And that's exactly what Mahesh and I did. We created iFoster. It is built off C# Corner, and it is designed for foster youth. The iFoster portal is the hub for foster kids, their caregivers, agencies that support them. It is the online community for foster care here in the United States. While its guts are C# Corner, the portal, as you can see, looks totally different and acts differently because our community has different needs, obviously, than C# developers. First and foremost among our needs are resources. We have hundreds of different resources, everything from laptops, as we've talked about it, eyeglasses, tutoring, grocery discounts, everything that foster youth need. It's all available like shopping at Amazon, except it's free. And like C# developers, our kids need to learn, not the latest cool tips for a C# coding test, but much more simple how-do-Is on the basics of becoming an adult. If you don't have parents teaching you how to cook or clean or open a bank account or apply for a college scholarship and financial aid, how would you even know that that stuff even exists? That's why only 9% of California foster youth get a California grant to go to college, even though 100% of them are eligible. They simply don't know. And finally, our iFoster portal, built off the C# platform, is a safe place. It's where youth can find themselves and feel comfortable asking for help. There's no judgment here. We all have similar experiences, and iFoster, we hire older foster youth who can be peer navigators to mentor and support the young ones. And it's a safe place for our kids to keep their stuff. Because our kids move around so much, they need a safe place to store their personal belongings, their birth certificate, their photos, their report cards. So it's all stored in their personal place in the iFoster portal. The iFoster portal is the virtual hub for foster care, for resources, learning, and family. Our youth say, I am iFoster, because iFoster is their family. And there is nothing more powerful than creating family. If C# Corner can power iFoster, what other communities could it or other forums that you design help create? And how many other disenfranchised, young, lonely people out there can you bring together? How many others can you nurture and empower? And then finally, the last piece of the equation is education. So once we've got them online, connected, built a community that they feel comfortable in, then it's all about education. It is the last piece in building the most disenfranchised to become positive, contributing citizens. And I firmly believe now is the time to democratize education, to free knowledge so that anyone, anywhere can learn. This fall, K-12 schools, colleges, and universities around the world will be moving to online classrooms. So you don't need to sit at Harvard, this is a picture of Harvard, to hear a Harvard professor. You can be anywhere and you can be anyone. And those Frankies out there, they could even sit on a log outside their shack and learn physics or biology or art history. The key is that this shouldn't just be learning for fun or self-development or improvement, but it should be for accreditation and a degree. To truly free knowledge from the confines of the classroom, we need to think differently. While YouTube is really great, has some great videos, they also have some crappy videos, but they have some great videos on how-tos and learning. They're just bits and bytes of information. There is no overall structure or code that is leading to something bigger, more holistic. What is needed is the Lego blocks of education. Small chunks of material that's easily digestible in the breathing room of everyday life, yet they build upon each other to achieve competence in mastery. And of course, it needs testing to measure mastery and to assign credit. To give you a case example at a very small level, you all can do something much bigger, is what iFoster is doing with our jobs program. So we have a 30 hours job skills training program that helps foster youth earn permanent employment online. We're not just talking, and we're moving it all online. And we're not just talking about doing it with talking heads, but it's interactive learning modules that take no more than 15 minutes each. They build on each other. And there are quizzes to measure mastery and attain certification. Our iFoster Jobs Program certificate is recognized by employers like Starbucks, CVS Pharmacy, state and county governments. So while a job training center is nowhere near where our Frankies live in the woods of West Virginia, I guarantee you there's probably a Starbucks. So we can prepare them through our online curriculum. They can get proper interview clothes from us through our iFoster portal. They can do mock interviews with our peer navigators through the portal. They can walk in, ace their interview, then text us immediately to let us know so we can cheer them on. And they can do it all from one of these tiny little devices, which of course we provide them all with free through the iFoster resource portal. So now imagine if you could reach out to teach and lift up every Frankie out there. Wouldn't the world be a better place? You can make it happen. Improve access, build communities, and help push education, truly to democratize education and allow knowledge to flow to the most disenfranchised. Thanks so much. I truly enjoyed being here, and I really hope all of you take to heart that tech can do a lot of good. Thank you.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Serita, for being with us today, and especially what you said about community, the people. We need community, bringing people together. So yeah, thank you so much for sharing that story, and of course for all the efforts you are doing with iFoster. It's very, very impressive.
Thank you very much, and thank you for having me. And I'm just so pleased that there are women in tech conferences now. That's just phenomenal.
Yeah. So do we. We're very happy to have this opportunity today, to have this platform, to have like-minded female in tech, just like yourself as well, being with us today to share knowledge with the community. So we appreciate it very, very much.
Thank you.
All right, then stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll see you next time.